Yesterday, in the last stream, I was doing the. So this is part of the platformer project. So in the last stream, I was doing like how to make coins, and like you see the enemy now. Now there's an enemy. Okay, and today, we'll be doing the enemy finite state machine. Okay, it means that. Oops, I kind of died. So it means that once the enemy senses the player, the enemy will zoom towards the player, and maybe it will even change an animation. Okay, so let's try to code that effect. So firstly, we need to have some new sprites for the enemy to like let the player know that the enemy is kind of chasing the player. So let's see. Okay, let's see how do we do this. Okay, so what we do is we do this in our sprites. Yeah, okay, let's just pick one of the, like, you see this tree over here were for the enemy in its normal form. Maybe the enemy in its chasing form can be these three yellow ones. Yeah, I mean, for lack of better sprites here, we're just gonna use this. Okay, it shouldn't make a big difference. Let's see. Oh, actually I could do brush. Okay, anyway, let's go to animation. Yes. So this animation will be called enemy attack. Okay, so I mean, if we have better sprites, we could use the better sprites for the enemy, but for now, the enemy is just a box. Okay, and then we have the enemy thing here. So we have the enemy attack, which will be a loop as well. Okay, so so what we do right now is that we basically, yeah, well, no, I was just maximizing my Unity so that you can see clearer. This enemy attack can be put here. Okay, we can have another parameter here. Okay, that could be a bool or a trigger. In this case, I think a trigger might be okay. Or maybe we just stick to bool. Okay, we just stick to bool, and this bool will be called attack. So we can add a transition here to enemy attack, and then a transition back to enemy walk. So what is the thing? We have no exit time for this. Straight away when the enemy senses the player, we straight away will go to attack. Okay, so this transition here is like that. Okay, and let's go to settings and we change some of this, no transition duration at all. Okay, and we add a condition here. The condition is attack true, then we go to enemy attack. Okay, that's great. So in enemy here we can, in enemy attack to enemy walk, same thing. We will basically have exit time. Actually, we can just do the exit time here. So like over here, the yeah, we could do an exit time. So basically, like when we go back to, okay, so in this case, maybe instead of a bool, we have a trigger instead. So let's add a trigger. And this trigger is called attack. Okay, let's delete this thing. Okay, so we utilize the exit time of this. So after 5 seconds, okay, of the enemy attacking the player, we'll go back to enemy walk. Okay, I'm just thinking whether this is a good way to do it, whether I should use the exit time here or the exit time in the script itself. Because if I do an exit over here, okay, yeah, it may not be that great because I will not be able to know that the enemy is walking now. Yeah, so I prefer to do the exit time from the script itself. Okay, so pardon me, change of mind. So let's change this thing here. Okay, let's delete this first. Right click, deletes, and then we do a bool attack. Okay, so the condition to transit back is when the attack is false. and the condition to transit to the enemy attack is when attack is true. Okay, and in the enemy attack, let's go to the animation clip. We do it at 3 samples per second. Rather, I think it's 3 samples per minute. Okay, let's see. 2 samples. Oh, this is actually 2 samples per second. Yeah. So let's go to here. 2 samples, 2 frames per second actually. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So we have a transition set up. Let's go to our enemy script. Okay, and then we will use this enemy script to program something so that the enemy, upon sensing the player, okay, will will run towards it. Okay, so maybe before we program this, we go to our enemy prefab in the scene. Okay, we need a way for the enemy to sense the player. Okay, this could be done by scripting, which is like you take the player's x and y coordinate and take the enemy's x and y coordinate, and then if it's smaller than a certain distance, then you trigger the enemy attack. Okay, but over here, I think it is more clear cut if we just use a collider. Okay, so if we sense the player in the collider, okay, then we do the state transition. Okay, so over here we just add, okay, we add okay, maybe we have a child. Okay, we create empty inside here, and over here this one will be called the left sensor, and in this left sensor we add a rigid body called the box collider 2D. So the left collider, okay, I mean it really depends on how wide you want the enemy to sense the player, but maybe somewhere here would be good. I don't know. Offset -2, size can be 3. Yeah, I think that's great. So when it senses within this sector, so this one will be called the left collider. Okay, we put it to be a trigger. Okay, then we can just duplicate this and we call this the right collider. Okay, this one will be helpful later because once we can reference the left and right collider, we can then sense whether or not it is touching the player. Okay, so let's see this trigger. Okay, we added this collider to go to 2. Okay, that's great. So you can see that the enemy now has a few colliders left, right, and at the bottom. Okay, so of course for these few colliders here, we don't really want it to uh, impact anything except the player. Yeah, let me just see how I can do this thing better. So if this is a trigger, okay, I mean let's just play this and see how it goes. I wonder if it will interact. Okay. So I need to get my player to a safe place first before I try this out. Okay, I'll go to the scene. I just want to see how the collider works for the enemy. So only when on trigger exit to the then we turn. It looks like it is sort of working even if I have an expanded collider like that. Yeah, I think it's working right. Yeah, so the moment any of this trigger is tells me that it's colliding with the player. Oh, what is happening? What is happening? Okay, this is no good. This is no good. So maybe what we need to do is we need to set the enemy in a new layer. Let's set the enemy in an enemy layer. Okay, apply all, and this will be an enemy layer. Okay, and then we apply this as well. Okay, so this enemy layer, we go to File, View, no, go to Project Settings. Okay, we go to Physics 2D, and then in the layer collision matrix, we set the enemy to collide with, um, maybe, okay, it doesn't collide with the, okay, you will have to collide with the platform, and then you will have to collide with the player. Okay, but what is my player right now? Oh, the player does not have a layer. Okay, let's add a layer for the player. Okay, so we make the player be able to collide with the enemy. Yeah, okay, the player can collide with the enemy. Okay, and the enemy can collide the platform, and the maybe not enemies. Yeah, enemies can just collide the platform. Okay, so let's just see how this works. Okay, we just want the, okay, where's my player? Okay, let's see again where the player went to. Hmm. After I put into the layer player, there's something that went wrong. Okay. Project settings, physics 2D, enemy collides with platform, player collides with everything. Okay, I guess we have to uncheck the ignore collision layer. UI, no. Yeah, we don't need to collide the UI. Actually, we didn't set any layers for this too, so it should be fine. So ignore raycast. Okay, I'm not too sure why it didn't, why the player was like that, but let's try again. Okay. I think the ignore collision layer was the killer. Okay, so we already have this set up. You see, on trigger exit, it changes direction because the player exited. Oops. Now I'd just like to see whether it can go left and right by itself with this new trigger. Oh no, it's not moving anymore. Okay, I have a feeling it's because once we have this to exit, this one hits. Okay, so it means that this box collider here and this enemy collider here, it's not compatible with the script. Okay, because of this over here. I got it. Okay, so over here we just put this layer to be default. Okay, and the collider here we put this to be layer enemy. Okay, and the enemy only touches the player. Okay, I know how to do this already. So the main object itself, okay, the main sensor does not collide with the player, or it only collides with the ground. Okay, so this main object in the enemy itself, okay, the player itself, okay, this player can still be here. The enemy itself layer only collides with the player. Yeah, enemy layer only collides with the player. That makes things easier. Okay, so these two are enemy layers, and the main layer is a default layer. So the main sensor itself wouldn't be, we wouldn't have an on trigger enter 2D. Okay, good. Okay, so over here, or okay, so basically the only thing that this would be colliding with is actually the platform layer. So what we can do is we can do game object tag platform. Let's see, the layer is called platform. Okay, this only interacts with platform. If the game object is tag is platform, okay, return not equals to platform. Okay, so we also want to do another one, void on trigger enter 2D. Okay, actually we could do this left and right collider based on the, we could do the left and right collider in the main enemy itself. Okay, I don't think it will make much of a difference. Okay, but on trigger enter 2D, whenever we sense the player, okay, and only interacts with player. Okay, if other.game_object.tag equals to player, okay, if it touches the player, okay, what we want to do is we want to set the animation state to be, okay, so we need to have an animation here. So animator my_anim, okay, my_anim equals to get component animator. Okay, over here what we do is we trigger the dot set trigger attack. Okay, this should, so whenever my player enters the scene, it will trigger the attack state. Okay, let's see whether it works. An object is required animate, oh sorry, this is actually my_anim, because my_anim is the object that references the get component animator. So let's see whether this works. Okay, let's see whether this works. Okay, we press play. Okay, we press play to see whether this works. Oh, one box has dropped. Okay, so apparently this is not exactly working. So on the trigger exit to the other.gameObject.tag is not equals to platform, return. Okay, maybe we remove this on trigger at the 2D first. Let's see whether this it works on the platform. Okay, this is important. Okay, we want it to work for the platform first. Yeah, I'm just experimenting. I never implemented this before, but I think it would be quite cool to do some form of state machine for it. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Okay, it looks like the default layer here. Okay, it does interact with the ground, right? Let's see. The default layer interacts with the ground. The platform interacts with the default layer. So if the enemy is in the default layer, it should be fine. Okay, in this case, this enemy one is in the default layer. Okay, so it's done. Okay, but the left and right collider in this case are in the layer of enemy. Okay, so maybe if I like maybe hide this two first. Okay, will this be alright? So you know when you have a problem, okay, we just revert back to the base layer. Okay, we revert this as well. Just want to see whether the enemy is able to do the left right motion that it did just now. Okay, so let's take a look. No, it's not. Okay, so apparently we have played around with this and it's no longer working. So let's see why that is the case. So if player tag not equals to platform, return. Okay, let's just do this. Instead of putting a return here, we just make it such that no, if the other game object is a platform, because it might be the case that collides with two or more, and then it sort of returns even when it's not like it hit the platform but it hit something else, then it just ignores. Oh, oh, okay. Somehow it's not working anymore. Okay, this is an issue. Let's try to figure out why it's not working. So when it's exit the trigger, if the other tag is a platform, then we change the direction. Okay, I mean this looks alright. Okay, we are printing out some numbers here, which I don't quite like. So let's just find out where it was printed. I believe it's in the game manager. Just not printed. No, maybe it's in the player. Yeah, there. Okay, so let's go to the enemy itself. Okay, we need to solve the issue. The enemy is not moving left and right anymore. Yeah, somehow that thing has killed it. Adding the left and the right collider has killed the enemy movement. So, all right, no biggie, no biggie. We go to the box collider. Just check it. So collider, yes, it's okay. Okay, on trigger exit to the if the other game object tag is platform. So maybe the platform doesn't have a tag. Yeah, got it right. Okay, so if we do this like that, okay, it's because we don't have a tag here. That's why we have this issue. So I have to do this all for the next few. Unity should really just make it such that if you do a layer, right, your tag is also the same as the layer. I mean, now we have to keep doing duplicate work like this. So it is because we don't have this tag on the platform. So now that I've tagged it platform, let us see, okay, whether this works. Hey, great, we got back our earlier functionality. Now that we've gotten it back, okay, we do like this, okay, and then we apply it all. Okay, so that okay, this one cannot be done like that because I've already changed it. Okay, let's just yeah, okay, so now my left and right collider are already there for this enemy. Let's see, okay, whether it will still work. Hopefully it will go left and right. Yes, it does work, it does work. So now once I touch my player in this left and right collider, I want it to change to the attack trigger. So this is what I'll do. On trigger, enter to the if the left and right trigger, okay, because the left and the right trigger are the only ones, okay, that can collide the player. Okay, the if you look at the project settings, okay, the player itself, okay, can only interact. Sorry, the enemy itself interacts with nothing but the player. Okay, but the default layer itself, oh yeah, the player can still interact with the default. Mm, I think it's fine. Okay, because in this case, what we want to do is that we just want to make sure that once the player, okay, enters within these two colliders, and these two colliders don't collide the ground. Okay, that's important. Okay, it will set a trigger to go to the next part. Okay, it should be triggering now, right? Unless, of course, our player is untagged. Of course, these tags are causing an issue. Maybe if you use like ease touching layers, it might be much easier if you do it using layer masks. Oh yeah, look at that. I triggered the yellow color thing. Okay, so now the thing is, once we trigger this yellow thing, okay, I want it to move faster. That's one. And two, okay, it should it should follow the player, as in it should go to the direction of the player. So how do we do this? Okay, so the moment it becomes yellow, okay, it should increase the speed. That's one. And then it should follow the player. Okay, so we need to do two things here. Okay, so let us have a internal boolean. Okay, okay, so over here set trigger attack is attacking equals to true. Okay, so over here, very simple. Maybe we set the attack speed to be 10f. Okay, so let us see how what the enemy speed is. We want the speed to increase. That's number one, and we want it to follow the player. Okay, so where's my speed? Enemy speed, yeah, it's here. Walk speed is 2, attack speed is 4. Okay, 2 and 4. Okay, so we want the if is attacking. Okay, okay, first over here. So if it's attacking, we want it to do a separate command for the velocity and the direction. Okay, if not, we can go back to our defaults. Okay, so how do we know what to do? So the velocity for attacking would be just the attack speed. Okay, which we can configure here. Okay, and the transform dot local scale, this part here, for now let's put it as this. Okay, okay, but we need to know, like, at the point of colliding. Okay, at the point of colliding, okay, we have to decide whether we want the box to like follow the player as it jumps left and right. The box will still follow, or the box just chase the player. If the player jumps away and not gets triggered by the box again, then the box will basically continue moving in that direction and do its normal patrolling like normal. Okay, we have to decide whether we want which type do we want. Okay, do we want the box to keep following the player or not? Okay, so for now, maybe we'll let the box follow the player every 1 second, I guess. Okay, so let us first start by doing this part here. Okay, which direction? Okay, and in fact, actually, I think this direction here. Okay, can can be a common one. Okay, we don't have to separate it. It's only the velocity that is different. Okay, so this one can be taken out. Okay, okay, let us just see whether this works first. Okay, so when it touches the player, the color should change and the speed should increase. Okay, that's what we want to get for the effects for now. So let's see whether this works first. Okay, let's see whether this works first. Oh yo, oh, the speed increase was really killer. Look at that. Whoa. Okay. And this I believe is because I did not change the speed here. So let me just overwrite everything. Speed 10 is instant doom for the player. I didn't even have time to react. So it's taking a while to do it, but I just want to make sure that the speed does increase and then it zooms towards the where the player is. Okay. Whoa, okay, there we go. Yes. Okay, but it doesn't zoom to the player yet. Okay, let's do that one later. Let me just revert back to okay, so this actually okay, is this a trigger? Let me see the okay, it should be if I remember correctly, it should be a bull. So yeah, it's a boolean. And somehow if I set trigger, it makes the boolean true. Okay, so let's just change this to set bull attack to be true. Okay, and then we need to have a time. Okay, so float time equals to 5, maybe 5. Okay, so maybe we can have a here public float uh, return attack time. We set it to be 5. Okay, so this time can be like size 0. Okay, and whenever the time is 0, okay, so in update time minus equals to time dot delta time. Okay, this tells you how much the time that has passed since the last frame update. Okay, this one will be if time greater than 0. We do this. If time smaller than 0, okay, if time greater than 0, time minus equals to delta time. And then, okay, so this time maybe we set as -1. If time equals to, if time is smaller than 0, okay, is attacking equals to false. Okay, basically it means this part here means that we stop attacking. Is attacking is false. My anim dot set bool attack to be false. Okay, so hopefully it will return back to the previous states. Okay, and then if is attacking is false, okay, we will then see a change in the velocity. Okay, so this means that in 5 seconds, okay, my if my enemy does not sense the player again, it will change back to the default color. And let's see whether this works. Okay, I'm quite curious to see if this works. I think it would work, but I haven't tested it out before this. So let's see whether this works. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, before I could check whether it worked, I kind of died. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I realized something. Okay, I missed out one thing. So in order for this time thing to work, because we need it to be minus of, okay, we need to set here time equals to, what do we set it to? Time equals to attack time. Okay, in order to start the counter of the attacking time. Okay, so for that 5 seconds, the player would be in in a frenzy because the block would want to kill it. Okay, so let's see whether this works. That's so cool to be able to program this. Yeah. State machines are very important for enemies. Whoa, look at that. Two, three, four, five. Oh, yes. Okay, return back to normal again. Oh, look at that. It's chasing me. Help me. Wait, we can even get this to like even play a sound. We Okay, so now the thing is, do we want the box to follow the player or do we want it to continue its movement? I think one nice way to do it is like you can let it move every second, and then if it manages to see the player, it will continue where it is. If not, it will change direction. So that's one way we can make it. Help me, help me. Yeah. Okay. So far it looks like the transition is good. The transition looks all right. Looks quite smooth. Okay. Okay. And so now what we'll do is we'll do the direction of the attack. So maybe we just set it to go straight to where the player is and then like maybe not look back for now. So basically it just means that the direction over here we need to set the direction. So how do we do this? We just need to check whether the player's position. Okay, find component, find object dots dot position dot x. Okay, if this one is greater than the uh, dispositions, then direction equals to 1, else direction equals to -1. Okay, if the player is ahead, then we will do this. Okay, so let's see. So now with this set in place, if we trigger the enemy from the left side, okay, we should be able to get the enemy to chase the player in the other direction instead. So let's see. Oh, okay. So now let me just jump over to the other side of this so that I want to see whether this chases me. Yes, okay, it does. It does. It works. Okay, so it basically finds where the player is and then chases the player. Okay, so now what we can do is every 1 second we can check the direction of this player. So okay, I mean one way to do it will be to do it in the animation itself. In the animation attack here, we open up this animation. Okay, we can actually add in this add event, and this event can actually call a function. Okay, and basically this will be able to call the function in the enemy itself to like change direction. Okay, but let's say we don't want to do it here. Okay, let's say we do it in the script instead. Okay, because I think everything in the script will be neater, and then we just use the animation to just change the sprites. Okay, and the logic for all this will still be in the main code itself. So how do we do this? That means every 1 second we want it to continue to target the player. Okay, so let's see how we do this. The code can be the same. Okay. maybe I'll just put it here. Okay, find player direction. Okay, we just have, because we'll be calling this uh, we'll be calling this quite a while, so quite a bit, so we can have this find player direction, and then in this player direction is like this. Okay, we don't have to return anything because this is within the script itself. Over here we can have find player direction. Okay, so this will be good. So it means that we will keep homing to the player every update. Else cannot contain a start statement. Okay, let's see. Is there an else somewhere that I'm... Oh, here. Okay, this should work. I hope. Hope this should work. Okay, so this is a very simple state machine where the box homes to the player. And let's see whether this is okay. We'll let it load a bit. Help me. Oh, what happened? Wait, where's my enemy? Oh, look, is y-axis is moving. Oh, yeah, direction is 0. HP direction is -1. No wonder. Yeah, it, if direction is 0, it means that the x-axis goes to 0, and I guess it means that it will be dropping off into nowhere because a 0 position is out of the grid, probably. That's what I infer. I mean, if we go to our main player, 0 is here. So if direction is 0, then my velocity is 0 here. No idea, but it probably like passed through the ground or something. Let's try again with the proper x-axis over here. We okay. Oh no, I went to stage 2 accidentally. Let's try again. I think update throughout is a little too fierce. Wow, do you see that? I think the update throughout is a little too fierce. Let's just have the update at the initial level. So we can do it here, and then this part here, we don't do the update. Yeah, that'll make it a little more manageable, I hope. Yeah, actually, I quite like the idea that the enemy can collide with another enemy. So let's just put two enemies here to just see how the movement is. And then if they collide with each other, they will just bump and like go to the different direction. So in order to do that, we go to project settings. And then we go down here, we do the enemy, and then we do the enemy can bump into enemy here. There we go. Yeah, but it should be fine because the default layer, actually my main enemy is not this enemy side, is actually in the default layer. So maybe this one I can pick out. This enemy is truly just for the player. And the periscope thing that looks downwards, I think that should just be the default layer. And the default layer can bump into another default layer. So I think this should work out. The two enemies will hit each other and then go to different directions if all works well. Okay, let me just see the default state, whether they can bump and go back. Okay, so maybe the way to do this is because when they hit each other like that, they are not exactly turning in time. So one thing that could be done is we could make the extra sensor that was meant for the player work for the enemy as well. So let's go to File, Project Settings, and then we just check the enemy to enemy collision here. Okay, we should make the box collider here. Make the two enemies like U-turn when they see each other. Where did this hello come from? Oh, here it is. Okay, somehow the on trigger enter 2D is not working for the enemy. Ah, there we go. We didn't exactly set the behavior here. Okay, so maybe we can still use the periscope thing. Okay, but let me just configure. Okay, let's go back to the project settings. Okay, and then we just uncheck this enemy to enemy. Okay, so what we'll do is in this on trigger enter 2D. Okay, other dot game object dot tag. Mm, if the other game object is we should tag all this as enemy as well. So that okay, let's try. Okay, let's override this. Okay, if we enter to 2D if the other game object dot tag equals to enemy. Okay, direction equals to direction times 1 minus 1. So if you see another enemy, both of them, or rather the one that sees it, is going to reverse. So let's see whether this works. All right. Yeah. Looks good. Looks good so far. And so now what I'll do is I will jump down into the fray in the bottom and get attacked by multiple enemies. We run. Oh, oh, it's actually quite tough. Right, yikes. Okay, so another, I think it's working already. Another thing that I want to do is the enemy rendering. Okay, I want it to be rendered like quite high up in the layer because the coins itself, okay, the coin itself, it's like appearing behind the enemy, which is, this coin is appearing in front of the enemy, which is not quite right. The enemy should be a little higher. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have a sorting layer before. I think we just put as default, and then we just make the order layer 1 for the enemy. Okay, and then for our player, we just make the sorting in layer 10. Okay, I mean we just make it a very high number, yeah, because we want the player to be always in front. So now the enemy, when it goes above the coins, the enemy should be showing itself above all the coins, which is what we want. Oops. Whoa. Oh, this is hard. This is hard. Wait, 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 wait. Now the screen is not moving enough because I have an enemy forward. So maybe what I'll do is I'll change the Cinemachine camera, okay, such that when I move left and right, I can see more of the area in front of me. So let's see. The date zone width over here can be set to be maybe like 0.2 so that we can like sort of see the enemy ahead. If not, it will be quite unfair to the player to just die like that without knowing that the enemy is there. So let's try to set that. Whoa, whoa. Looks good. Looks good. So far, it looks good. Oh no, died. Okay, but anyway, now we can see how it looks like the game. There's too many enemies in the first stage, but just trying it out. In general, having too many enemies like this is not very good design, especially not when the levels are meant to be. Oh gosh, actually that was nice. If within the zone itself, it sends the player, it will straight away turn its back towards the player again, which is something that I like. Yeah, so the enemy will just keep going until it sends a player, and then you bounce on the player again. Oi! So haha, you didn't sense me. Oops, oops. Haha, you didn't sense me. Oops. Yeah, we can change the sensing range based on the trigger, but whoa, look at that. Yeah, I quite like this feel of the enemy. Oops, oops, oops. So you gotta make the oh, look at that. This is tough. Whoa! Wow. Not easy to play this game, man. Yeah. So I guess we need to give the player some chance by giving some bullets. Let the player shoot and destroy the enemy. No, if not, it will be tough for the player. Oh gosh, look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Oh, oi! Oh wow! Yay! Oh, actually, this is pretty fun jumping over the box like that. Just thinking whether it would be more fun if I don't let the box collide with one another. Ah, yeeps, yeeps. Oh, do you see that? You can actually entice the enemy to chase you down. I think I will just leave that as a feature. Yeah, I mean, there has to be a certain part where if I say the enemy is at the edge, by just being there, you can entice the enemy to chase you off the cliff. I quite like the feel of this. Enemy feels scary. I mean, it doesn't look scary, but the feel is there. Okay, so that's it for the enemy part. I'll be taking a short break before I come back and do the bullets. And these bullets will be there in order um, to destroy the enemies. We need to give the player some hope. Okay, if not, it would be tough for the player to even win this game. Yeah. All right. So that's it for now, and I'll see you all soon. Okay. Bye.